Let's continue our conversation about the candidates. Yamhill County inquiring minds want to know who to vote for. We're trying to give you the information to do that. Commissioner position 1, there are 5 people running for that. One of those is Brett Veatch. Brett, I got your name right finally.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Talk a little closer to the microphone.
Sure.
And tell me why you're running for Commissioner position 1.
Well, Dave, as you know, there are 2 seats that are going vacant, Kathy George and Mary Stern. They're both our most experienced county commissioners. There'll be a void there. I think my level of experience and skill sets would be a good fit for that and would be a benefit to our county.
Tell me about your skill set. What's your experience from?
Well, my background is in the real estate and construction industry. I've spent 25 years in that, and part of my business is collaborating with folks, going ahead and cooperating heavily in order to bring projects together, listening to get a good sense of what people need, and then finding common ground between differing viewpoints. I think all those skills are beneficial on the Board of Commissioners, but what I really believe that I can bring is leadership. I've been on the Newburgh City Council, and as part of that, you're faced with a number of difficult decisions that need to be made. Some of those popular, some are not, and I've had the opportunity to analyze and have to make some of those decisions and then explain those to constituents. So I think that is also beneficial. Newburgh has a city budget of about $80 million. That's close to the size budget that the county has. So I've garnered some good budget experience there and learning how to balance that.
So prior government experiences, Newburgh City Council, how long?
I was on the Newburgh City Council until I moved out of district. I started out on the Citizens Rate Review Committee actually right after I got out of school, and then was involved in Leadership Newburgh, was on a number of other boards and commissions that I was appointed to, the Newburgh City Council, then the Newburgh Urban Area Management Committee. The Newburgh Urban Area Management Committee interfaces with at the county level for any land use actions that are happening within Newburgh's urban reserve area. That gave me a good opportunity to get to know people on the Board of Commissioners, county staff, members of the Planning Commission, and I also had the opportunity to work with some of our state officials. I've been to Salem, formed some relationships there, advocated for some things, opposed for some things, been back to Washington, D.C. and had the opportunity to talk with our congressional representatives. And I think it's important for a commissioner to be able to form or at least recognize the importance of those relationships, stepping outside the county and forming synergies with other levels of government is going to be important to get things done in our county and to bring outside resources in.
What do you think the challenges are for Yamhill County?
Well, there's a lot of different things that the county needs. One of them, obviously, is a good economic base. Without a healthy economy, it's hard to have a healthy county. So I'm obviously an advocate of bringing compatible businesses in, businesses that already play to the strengths here in the county, businesses that will be good for our communities, that will bring good living wage jobs into the county. I also would advocate for supporting our existing businesses and small businesses, making sure that Yamhill County continues to be a place that's good to do business in. But we also can look at other things too. We've got universities and community colleges here that have talented people. We've got talented folks already living in the county, with new folks coming in all the time. Those people bring bright and innovative ideas. I think we need to support those. We have folks that have been very successful in our county. Some of them have expressed a willingness to help other folks start their businesses. I think forming relationships where we can augment the community colleges in business development would be important. And also I've spoken with investors who have looked at the idea of maybe incubators or accelerators for some of our small businesses, putting in a little bit of money, creating a little bit of space, and trying to get businesses to get a good start and get rolling so that they can expand and provide additional jobs for the county.
What can we do to attract new business into Yamhill County? And then the second question that I'd like you to think about is, what do we do to help existing business?
Well, to attract new businesses in, as I said, I think continuing to make Yamhill County a friendly place in which to do business. But more than that, you've got some other tools that are available in the toolbox. Strategic investment programs, strategic investment zones, enterprise zones. Strategic investment zones could benefit places like in the West County, where you have a number of facilities that are sitting vacant. Newburgh's actually looking at an enterprise zone to help augment its industrial areas and attract businesses there. SEDCOR is a grant program that is available for helping training workers. I think that is important to continue to have a workforce that has updated skill sets. The Board of Commissioners, in my opinion, most of the economic development land where a business would need to be sited is inside the communities, and fostering a spirit of cooperation between the communities and the county. The Grow Yamhill County program is a very good start in bringing together the resources of Yamhill County to promote the county as a whole and all of its 10 communities. And I think the Board of Commissioners can act as an ambassador for that. Sometimes it is easy to get tunnel vision wrapped up in all Yamhill County all the time, and providing the day-to-day services and taking care of the business of the county is important, but I think it's also important for the board to reach beyond our borders, to talk up the benefits, advantages, the unique aspects of the county to other elected officials at the state level, even the federal level, to go outside of the county and speak with other business owners and tout what is important about Yamhill County. Relatively recently, we brought in CEC Construction Equipment Company into Sheridan. They moved in to our county and have been a benefit to the West County, and part of that was just that Yamhill County was a more attractive option than the other expansion options available to them. So going out and looking at companies that may not be that far away, that may benefit from what we have to offer here, is an important part of our job.
Let's talk, one of the areas we want to talk about economic development, we've talked to each candidate about it, is Wallace Bridge. Are you familiar with the proposal of Wallace Bridge?
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
We were yesterday at the Willamina Chamber of Commerce meeting, and we love going up there every Wednesday and just finding out what's going on in West County, as we all want to get into every city in Yamhill County to see what's going on. Two things. Wallace Bridge. In fact, there are some people there that are talking about pickets at NRCS. I don't know whether it's going to happen or not, but they're upset over the Wallace Bridge decision, the denial of an easement adjustment or modification, land swap from one piece of land to another to allow this equestrian venue to go in. There is still, there is another option out there for that, but it's if that doesn't happen, it may not happen. So the folks in West Valley, at least the folks we talk to, or the business community, others, are pretty upset about Wallace Bridge. We've had a conversation with NRCS, about an hour and a half in 2 different conversations. And one thing that really came up that was interesting to me was they said, well, it's not our job to create jobs. It's our job just in conservation. And my response to them was, in this era of we have, politicians going out saying, vote for me for senator, vote for me for this because I'm going to bring jobs to your state, then I have a federal agency telling me it's not my job. We feel sorry for those folks, but, and then we have emails that are posted on our website saying, well, we're not going to mess around with Wallace Bridge because we don't have time for it, and we don't see the compelling public need. You take that email up to West Valley and show it around, and people get angry. So first of all, your position on Wallace Bridge.
Well, I think Wallace Bridge would be a fantastic project. I think it would really benefit West Valley. You talk about no compelling need, and as you mentioned, take that out to folks in West Valley that are needing jobs, that are needing economic growth, and to them I think they would say it's a very compelling need to be able to bring in a development like that, and all that it would bring into our county is just a phenomenal opportunity to jumpstart the West Valley. So I'm extremely disappointed in our federal government. However, the levels of red tape as you move up in the governmental hierarchy just seem to get thicker and thicker, and that's one of the reasons that I think the Board of Commissioners can act as an ambassador. One of their duties is to interact with other levels of government, and they should be actively working with state and federal officials to bring whatever influence on the departments that can be exerted. And I think also getting out and working with the communities and keeping this issue in front of them. Obviously, the folks in West Valley understand it's an important issue. We should support that in them. But things like picketing and emails to their elected officials and any pressure that can be brought is an important step. I just look at the number of years it took to push through the Newburgh-Dundee bypass, and it was a constant pressure that was exerted at the state and federal level by a number of individuals and the community as a whole. And it takes that in order sometimes to change the opinions of these government bureaucracies that are just too ready to say, no, that's not our problem.
This is kind of out of the area, but I was going through the email the other day, and I've covered Congressman Greg Walden for quite a few years. He's not the congressman in this area, but when I was over in the eastern part of the state, in Ontario and in Bend, Congressman Walden, and they're having a problem in the Steens Mountain, where it's written into the Steens Mountain wilderness legislation. I think it's wilderness legislation. Anyway, the BLM is supposed to maintain the fences, and they're not. And they say they're not going to, and they're asking the ranchers to do it. And the congressman is saying, well, wait a minute. In the law that we passed in Congress, it says you will, and now you're saying you're not going to, and he's quite upset about it. Sometimes you get the bureaucracy that essentially decides their agenda and tries to push it through, even when our elected officials say, that's not what we told you to do.
Yep.
Interesting. Another couple of things we want to talk about are medical marijuana dispensaries and the Second Amendment or gun rights. We're seeing a lot of talk in the media on both of those issues. Talk about medical marijuana dispensaries first. What's your position on that?
Well, first of all, it's the law. It was passed. I think the state legislature, to some degree, did a disservice to the local communities in dumping this in their lap, so to speak. I think Yamhill County did the right thing in enacting a moratorium, giving a little bit of space and time to look at the issue and determine what type of response is necessary to this. Also to see whether or not the legislature is going to take the issue up again and revise it, whether they're going to pass it entirely for recreational use, whether there's a referendum that comes up. So I think the moratorium was a good first step in giving us the room to analyze the situation and make adjustments that are necessary. My personal views are that I think if it's medical marijuana, it should be administered the same way any other drugs are, through a pharmacy. I think the lines between medical use and recreational use sometimes get a little blurred. Obviously, I think that anyone that needs it for medical purposes should have access to it. I'm very much in favor of that. My mother had cancer. She eventually succumbed to that disease, but she had a variety of pain medications, from opiates and marijuana to other things, in order to control that pain. And I saw how difficult it was for her to keep that pain in check in those final weeks and months before she passed away. So I have great compassion for those folks that need it, but I also see a lot of potential risks in the medibles, how available they are, how children could easily get their hands on those, the potential for overdoses, regulating the issue. We have way too few staff as funded and assigned by the state to really do a good job of this, and I think it needs further modification.
If you are given a choice as a county commissioner to say, if it's decided in state law and it's given to you as an option to have medical marijuana dispensed in pharmacies or continue to use medical marijuana dispensaries or a separate business for dispensing marijuana only, which would you prefer?
Well, I think if I was given the choice, now obviously the county doesn't have many sites that would be available within their jurisdiction for this. The cities are the more apt places for something like this to locate. But if I had the choice between a dispensary and a pharmacy, I think I would choose the pharmacy. It is the place where drugs are readily and regulatorily licensed to provide medication. I think it's a controlled environment, and I think the dispensaries do not have the controls that are in place, nor the regulations, thank you, for doing the best job as far as the community goes.
Second Amendment, gun rights. We're hearing a lot of conversation in the media about that as well. Shootings. There was one at a FedEx facility in Georgia yesterday.
Yep.
Tragic occurrence. You hate to see those happen. But then again, as we talked with Deborah Bridges here a moment ago, there are people out there. In fact, the two questions people want us to ask all the candidates are marijuana dispensaries and gun rights. There are people out there that are concerned that it will be a directive of an administration to try to take their guns. There's a fear out there that it's going to happen. Then you have the other camp that is afraid of being shot by those guns.
Correct.
So you've got these two very passionate arguments going on that in some places are just, butting heads, and they're definitely not moving to the other side of the question. And this is one of those things where it's hard to have dialogue because both parties are entrenched in their arguments. Tough issue. Second Amendment.
Well, it is a tough issue, and I can understand both points of view. My personal feeling is that the Second Amendment is part of the Constitution. Matter of fact, in the Bill of Rights, it came right after religion and free speech. So I think the Founding Fathers thought that the right to keep and bear arms was a very important part of the freedoms associated with our country, and I support that right. I've grown up with guns my entire life. My two young sons, I taught firearm safety at a very young age and taught the proper use of guns to them. So I am a advocate of the Second Amendment. That said, I think that education is a very important part of it. Anything can be potentially dangerous in the wrong hands. An automobile, if the person doesn't know how to operate it, is a pretty deadly weapon. I think there should be training and use of it. Those people that are comfortable should go ahead and seek education in the proper use, cleaning, loading, and operation of a firearm. Those that aren't probably should not use them. I also think that the mental health issue is a large component of these terrible tragedies that are going on in different parts of the country right now. And that's something I would strongly advocate, is additional mental health analysis, prevention, making sure that folks are getting treatment, these issues are being identified early, and making sure that people that have problems are not getting their hands on weapons and then having an issue and using them to hurt other people.
If it came to a situation where a Second Amendment was still in force and for whatever reason the federal government was wanting to disarm the citizens, all three candidates for Yamhill County Sheriff have said we would not be a party or participate in helping federal agents disarm the citizens of Yamhill County. If you were elected as commissioner and your sheriff had that position and that was the scenario being played out, would you support your sheriff?
Yes, I would support the sheriff. As an elected official, you take an oath to uphold the Constitution. I did as a city council member. You would as a county commissioner or a sheriff or any other elected official. If the Second Amendment is still part of the Constitution and has not been repealed, then it is still the law of the land, and I would not be a party to circumventing the Constitution. So if the federal government said that they were going to direct the local sheriffs to confiscate weapons, and the sheriff refused to do so, I would be behind him 100% in that refusal to do so.
There is a proposal out there to combine community corrections and the juvenile department in Yamhill County as an efficiency and cost-saving move. You support that decision, and do you think there's other areas of county government that we can look at efficiencies?
Well, I guess I would support any measure that can be taken which would increase the efficiencies and the effectiveness of government services. Funding in the future, I think, is going to become continually more difficult to obtain. Costs continue to go up. The ability of obtaining federal, state, and other funds continues to shrink. So I think we need to learn how to use those tax dollars more wisely and more efficiently and get more bang for our buck. So from a business standpoint, I learned never to jump to conclusions and look from the outside and say, well, there's all these things that need to be changed. I think our county has done a very good job. They've got strategic reserves in place. They've effectively used their tax dollars. We're in better positions than some of our adjacent counties. But going in, I think one of the questions that I would ask of each of our departments is there a better way to do things? Is there a way that we can be more efficient, deliver better services, or those services more effectively? Is there any technological improvement that will reduce costs or provide for a better experience for our citizens? Is there a different methodology of doing what we do that will result in a better product? So I'm looking for continual improvement. I think that's one of the things that we have to do to stay ahead of the curve.
What do we need to do to encourage business to come to the area, and then what can we do to support and encourage local business to expand? Obviously, there's some things that the county government is powerless to control. The economy, consumer confidence, the list goes on and on. But what can we do to entice local or business or industry to come into the area, bring more jobs? And then what can we do to support and encourage and foster the growth of existing business?
Well, I think bringing new business in, there's a number of things that can be done. First of all, just letting people know that Yamhill County is interested in acquiring new business in our area, letting them know that we're going to be business friendly. And that is a basket of a number of things, making sure that we're not being over-regulatory in terms of what's required of new business, making sure that we're not being too fee-heavy in terms of what is demanded of businesses. But there's other things as well. There's things like the strategic investment plan, making sure that we are offering some incentives to good businesses, businesses that are compatible with the strengths that the county already has, that are going to be good for our communities. I think offering those type of things is a big benefit. If we can get the right companies in with the right jobs, the long-term benefits for the county are fantastic. As I said before, I think the role of a county commissioner acting as an ambassador and getting outside our borders and talking to other businesses, other leaders, the community as a whole, and talking up the strengths of Yamhill County and what we offer is an important step in getting people to recognize what's here, the benefits of the quality of life here. It's not only what we can offer the businesses as a whole, but it's what we can offer the owners of those businesses, the managers and executives that come with them, the employees. Then there's other things that can be done. I talked about worker training, making sure that we're keeping our workforce up to date with the skills that are necessary to attract those jobs. Companies today are looking for skill sets from their employees. They're looking for an educated workforce that has the tools to get the jobs done, and I think we need to show that we are working towards that, and we can provide that and help with those things. So those are some of the things that are right off the top of my head.
As the ballots are arriving in mailboxes first part of this month, and people are seeing the name Brett Veatch as one of the 5 running for position 1 Yamhill County Commission, why should they check your name?
Well, I guess as I mentioned before, I think I have a skill set that is beneficial to the Board of Commissioners. I have direct experience on City Council in dealing with issues, complex issues that come before a community that you have to determine what is in the long-term best interests of your community. That's the yardstick I always use to measure any decision. I looked at it, is it good today? And then will it still be good 20 years from now? I've been in Yamhill County my whole life. Our family's been here for 4 generations. I grew up here. My business is here. My wife Amy and I are raising our 2 sons here. They've shown an interest in staying in Yamhill County, and I want to make sure Yamhill County is a great place for them to grow up and live in. So the future of Yamhill County is very important to me. But I also have spent a career gathering people together, cooperating, collaborating, listening to folks, trying to find out what their needs are and how to achieve those. And I have spent time bringing people together from differing viewpoints, finding that common ground. So those are skill sets, as I mentioned before, that I think would all be beneficial to the board. I have gone out and formed relationships with other levels of government, another important skill set, and I have the energy and the interest to get out and work for our county. I think you'll find it hard to find another individual that will work as hard as I will. Owning your own business, you learn to put in long hours, early morning, late nights, weekends. I'm accustomed to that, and it's my passion to see Yamhill County grow and flourish and succeed.
Okay. Do you have a website or Facebook page?
Yes, I have a website, brettveatch.com. You can go to that. It has a little informative video on it and some other information about me, or they can always feel free to call me if they have any questions. Just dial 503-708-4663. I'm glad to talk to anybody about their concerns, any questions they might have, or other viewpoints.